Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. Well, it's time for a Tobago segment. This morning we'll be chatting about a girls' seminars. It seeks to educate girls about menstruation. One of the many initiatives of the Police Youth Club. We understand that Cindy Andrews of the Bell Garden Police Youth Club is joining us, and also Dr. Faith B. Israel, facilitator at the event, and she's no stranger to us here on CTV. Ladies, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you
Great.
guys?
I am well. Such a pleasure to have you. So, Ms. Andrews, what are some of the initiatives being undertaken by the Bell Garden Police Youth Club at this time?
Well, this year we chose to focus on the theme of education as opposed to last year when we focused on developing the young people in extracurricular activities. So this year we embarked on a I Learn, where we visited the forts as well as our wildlife preservation we have on the island. We also had a spelling bee themed Year for Love, where we focused on words about the island as well as words about love. The girls' seminar will be the second one we're having with Dr. Faith. It is going to be a much larger group because a lot of the other police youth clubs on the island have shown interest. So we really look forward to our seminar tomorrow.
So the focus this year, as you said, would be education. How did the extracurricular activities pan out? Was it a success?
It was a success. We had a lot of young men from the community coming out to participate in the football tournaments, which was one of the big things we had. This year, I believe we would have placed third in a football tournament hosted by one of the other police youth clubs.
Sounds very exciting, and we'd like to welcome to the conversation Dr. Faith. Dr. Faith, we understand that the topic of discussion is menstruation. Why this topic?
Well, we know that talking about sexuality is something that we're not very comfortable with in Trinidad and Tobago. So we wanted to give the young girls an opportunity to ask the question. So we opened it to, I think the youngest person is probably 9.
Yes.
And we opened it to 9-year-olds upwards to come, and we'll have a discussion about what your menstruation is, what the menstrual cycle is, what to expect, what to do when it happens. You know, there are questions, all of these questions that we never really had an opportunity to ask, and we're giving the young girls an opportunity to ask those questions and to just have a good back and forth, a good rapport, and it's a comfortable, safe space. I've done things with them before, so these are girls that I know very well. These are girls we've had talks about human sexuality before, and they know the kind of sessions that I host. So I think this is a good opportunity for them to come out and learn a little bit about their bodies and learn a little bit about what to expect. And even those of us who've been going through it for a little bit, you know, there's always that one question you wanted to ask. This is an opportunity.
Great. And Ms. Andrews, I'll take the opportunity to ask you, as a very young person, what are your thoughts on this topic? How valuable or important is a topic like this?
Well, I believe it's very beneficial for young persons to have the opportunity to ask questions. A lot of the times we have a lot of burning questions, but because of the relationships we may have with our parents or elders, we are unable to ask the questions. And Dr. Faith, with her seminars, allows us that opportunity to have a safe place where we can learn about ourselves.
So, Dr. Faith, is it a very interactive session?
Yes, it's going to be extremely interactive. I will start with giving some basic information, but we always open it out for questions, for demonstrations. We will also have examples of you know, like tampons and pads and stuff like that, so that the girls could get a sense of what these things look like, how to use them, and so forth. So it's going to be very interactive, very open, very comfortable, and we encourage the girls to come out, bring all of your questions. I promise if I don't know the answer, I will find it and bring it to you at another time.
And how will the seminar be structured? What is the breakdown of the entire seminar?
Okay, so that is relatively simple. We are going to use a model that the Family Planning Association uses, which basically talks about, you know, what is the menstrual cycle? When do you start counting the cycle. You know, what is the average age that girls start their menstrual cycle? What does it mean? What is actually happening in the body when that happens? And then we're going to go into, you know, when do you expect it to happen? What do you actually expect to see when it happens? And then kind of, you know, now this is an open session. Let's just wrap, let's just talk. Whatever questions you have, you can bring it to us, but it's going to be really, really informal. We are now working out this space because we actually have quite a bit of girls coming.
Yes.
Because we opened it up. I think we have girls coming from the Charlottesville Police Youth Club and from the Roxborough Youth Club, in addition to our girls from the Bell Garden Youth Club. So we're going to have to open, you know, have a space where we could accommodate these people and have it really, really comfortable, really almost like an informal wrap session.
Great. Now, I'd like to take this opportunity also to ask you, Dr. Faith, how important is it for young boys to know about even the basics on menstruation?
Well, that is extremely important because I have had experiences where grown men have asked me questions about menstruation, and I was actually very surprised by the questions they asked or the responses we got from them. So it is extremely important for both boys and girls to have very good information about our bodies, both the males and the females. So we're focusing this time on the young girls, but I think we are going to have sessions for the young boys in the future. Maybe not necessarily on menstruation, but this is something that comes up. And just so we know, we've had human sexuality sessions where we did have a group a session for young girls and a session for young boys. And the questions were very similar, but very different things came out in those sessions too. So it's extremely important to not just focus on the girls. It's just that this event is only going to be for the girls this time.
Great. And Ms. Andrews, how large is the club and how large do you see the turnout being for this event?
Well, for this event, we had to ensure that we asked persons to register in order so that we could get a feel, because Dr. Faith prefers to work with small groups. But thankfully, she has agreed to expand it. The club's registration is about 150 members. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Is there a cost attached?
Well, we have implemented a membership fee, which you pay at every meeting. We have 2 meetings per month, and it's just $5.
Also, Dr. Faith, what age groups are you targeting? Is it 9 and up?
Yes. We're going for young girls 9 and up because we're assuming that by 9, many of them may not have started their menstrual cycle as yet, and this gives them an opportunity to get an understanding of what is going to happen to them. So it's 9 and up. We decided to not have a cutoff age, an upper cutoff age, because we also know that there are young ladies who may still have questions, who've never had the opportunity to ask questions. So we decided to allow all the girls to be a part, even if you've already started your cycle.
You know, that leads me to another question. You mentioned some 9-year-olds may not have had their menstruation cycle just yet. What determines at what age you get your menstrual cycle? Some have said, and I'm sure a lot of people even in the studio would admit to hearing us saying that it's the KFC, it's the chicken, it's the, you know, it's what they inject into these foods that we're eating. Is there any truth to that?
Well, there is a little truth to it because we are seeing that when we have communities that ingest a lot of foods that are with artificial hormones, then we are seeing that some of those girls tend to get their periods a little earlier. That is really just anecdotal information. But of course, it's different for everyone. Some get it earlier, some get it a little later. It has to do with their genetics, their body makeup, how mature they are, but it may also be influenced by some of the things we eat. And yes, having those additional hormones, and I'm not going to call any of the franchise names, but having any of those additional hormones do tend to increase or decrease the age. We've noticed that.
Great. Our closing comments. What would you like to say to those looking on who perhaps would like to also be part of this initiative?
Well, you know, it is an opportunity for us to learn, and we at the Bell Garden Police Youth Club, we believe that giving accurate information early is one of the best ways of getting information out and having people do the activities that we would like them to do. The outcomes would be better. So we encourage the parents to send your kids, let them be a part of it. We are also encouraging parents to allow your kids to ask the questions that may be difficult questions, that may be sensitive questions, because getting that information out there at an early age is actually a better prevention than treating with the issues that come when people don't have the accurate information.
Great. Such a pleasure chatting with you, Dr. Faith B. Israel and Cindy Andrews, of course, talking about that girls' seminar as it seeks to educate young women about menstruation, one of the many initiatives of the Police Youth Club.